All right, welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News without Scott Allen. Scott, I understand, has made it back from Las Vegas. All his privilege, being so privileged up in Las Vegas, they had a special vehicle to lift him up and carry him somewhere, pick him up and go here, go there.
Nice.
So, some people have it and some people don't. I don't know what it is. But anyway, let's put our sponsors out there and announce our sponsors. Then we're going to get to Shayne and we're going to talk some racing.
Oh, boy.
First of all, I want to thank Todd Davis at Factory Canopies, and he's done a lot for us. He's also got a new thing going out now called Fluid Logic, and it's a hydration system they put in race cars.
Okay.
Bubba Pollard swears by it. He says it's the greatest thing in the world. He says it keeps him on his toes during a long race or whatever, because the thing will run up there and he runs it into his.
And isn't there like a button or a light or something that like flashes after so long?
Yeah,
he gets but so hot.
Right.
It like reminds him like.
Yeah, it'll flash and say you need to get some more water. You need to get some more water.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. We saw it when we were in Charlotte, and it's really, really cool. And a lot of drivers say they don't want it because they say it weighs too much. Well, it doesn't weigh that much. I mean,
Yeah.
They put them big old bottles with water in them in the cars and all, and then coolers with their suits and stuff that they wear. These are the NASCAR guys. It weighs more than what he's got right there with that. So, I mean, that's my opinion. Anyway, Slinger Speed Company. We got they're doing a lot of stuff for us. Done some shirts for me, and hopefully we'll have them on here next year and be a part of it. Some place called Mayhem Management.
She sucked this week.
She's something else. She's into everything. This Mayhem Management person.
She was a little busy this week.
And I'm glad to see you did something for a change. Papa John's. They brought us the pizza tonight. Papa John's, and we appreciate Amanda and everybody down at Papa John's for being a part of our show. Smith's Wraps and Graphics. The show is brought by, they're our title sponsor for the show, and we're tickled to death to have them on. NC 811, January 1, we drop NC 811 and we're moving to Virginia 811 with Brian Morehouse. So that's going to be a big deal for us. GAC, Great American Companies. Guillermo Amaya and his company, he has got some construction work going on all up and down the East Coast. He is in that little bit of everything from what I'm hearing. So he's got a lot going on. Bondrett Brothers Distillery. Robert Bondrett down in Chase City, Virginia. They do a little bit of that moonshine stuff down there. I can't wait to get down and see him again. I haven't had a chance to get down there, but I want to get down there soon. Our drink of choice here, Scott and I do not drink anything but Pepsi and Mountain Dew. So the Pepsi bottles, we appreciate them being a part of our show. Langley Speedway. I want to thank Chuck Hall and Bill Mullis. Oh, Bill was having a good time down there this weekend.
He was living his best
He
life.
was everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I even saw it. I was sitting there watching the race and saw it walking across. Yeah, walking across. That's Bill.
Live interview.
Yeah,
What was that show? Where's
Waldo?
San Diego or something?
Where's
Waldo?
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Where's Waldo is a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Where's
Bill was
Bill?
everywhere. Man, Bill was walking across everywhere.
Got pictures with a gun over the trophy.
Yeah.
I know.
Black Acid Apparel. We appreciate them being a part of our show. And MPM, McAllister Precision Marketing. We appreciate them being with us also. I would mention the other two sponsors, but they don't do nothing for me. They do everything for Scott Sullivan. I'll wait till Scott comes back and talk about them.
All right.
Because they don't want to give me nothing. I had to go steal a bottle of spray to clean the back of my car one day. So I want some of that, and I had to go steal it to get it. So they don't do a whole lot for us. Anyway. All right, that's all our sponsors. Appreciate everybody and everything they do.
Indie Music already has a question for Shayne.
Oh boy.
Jeez.
If I can't answer it, then I will get the answer and and I'll message her back.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go.
She hasn't
Well-
fired the question yet.
Oh,
so
she hadn't sent the question
Oh,
yet.
okay.
She just gave the warning, so now that you're prepared.
Oh, yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna do that when I do my news. I forgot all about that. Butch Laster has,
Yeah, I was getting ready to talk about Butch.
I think he's home. Isn't he home now?
No.
No,
He's not home yet?
no, he's still at the hospital. He had surgery yesterday.
Okay.
So, but, I was gonna mention Butch, there's only certain people that give you a start in everything you do. And, like in racing, John Phillips gave me my start.
Yeah.
And then on the official side, Butch Lasker gave me my start. So it all started there. So I love Butch like a daddy. And, he had his leg right below his knee amputated yesterday, but the doctor said that everything looked good. The blood flow was good. It looked like he was a good candidate for a prosthetic leg, so he's going to be fine. He just got to, take care of himself, but, I love Butch like a daddy. So.
Now, I hope he does well and we get him back and maybe get out here to
Yep.
see us sometime during the next season.
We have the question from Amy.
Yeah, speaking of her, I talked to Phil for about 20 minutes this afternoon. So yeah, go ahead.
She wants to know if you win the limited race and are not registered for the late model race at Florence, will they be allowed to start the late model race?
To my understanding, unless it changes, and I'll speak to this, and like I said, I don't think it's changed. Steve and I hadn't talked in about 2 days, maybe, just because he had the truck deal going on. But the first and second place of the of the limited race on Friday night will be offered a provisional, the 41st and 42nd starting position in the late model race on Saturday. And that's my current understanding.
So how many cars are you looking at having down there for this race? I mean, I'm seeing everybody wanting to come down there and be a part of this race.
Oh my God, it's huge so far. I believe last time I talked with Steve, I believe he told me there was 54 already entered. So anyway, we're going from there. So
We got Butterbean, Mark Works,
oh yeah, yeah.
Riley, all those guys from here going down there to race. Dale Jr. is going to be there. He's put up. I mean, he's letting everybody know he's going to Florence.
Oh yeah. He even made a statement in Martinsville. He was on an interview and they were talking about late model races coming up, and he's just a fan of Florence. He loves Florence, what it was, and then and it's hard not to like Steve.
He's a great guy.
So it's a good race. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, Dale Jr. He's definitely excited about it.
Yeah, and he made the comment. He said as soon as he got out of cup racing, his plan was to go
absolutely
late model racing. He said, but it took him a long time to do it because he had other things going on. But he's so glad he's able to do it now. And I understand through a friend of mine that works down there at Junior Motorsports that he's going to run maybe 10 to 15 late model races next year around the area, not in one particular place. He's going to be in. So,
I heard talks, and I don't know what it is. So, I can't comment, but I kind of heard the same thing you did. But, it'd be great. Just like he was talking about at a Florence race, he said he just wants to come. He just wants to race.
And the thing about it is he doesn't come down there and look for special conditions. He comes in, he does his own thing.
He hasn't asked for one special item.
So I mean,
he
it's
just wants to come race.
It's a whole lot different. It was when we had the Hamlin shootout here. When they had to have their RV and all that stuff in there. All right, let's go over some quick news real quick. Our Cup champion and winner this past week, Joey Logano. Xfinity champion and winner, Ty Gibbs. Truck winner and champion, Zane Smith. In the Cup Series, Austin Cindric was Rookie of the Year. In the Xfinity, Austin Hill. And in the trucks, Corey Heim was the Rookie of the Year. And now I'm gonna let Miss Thame over there tell us about the North-South shootout since she was down that way.
Oh, I don't know if I'm the person to recap that. I was a little busy. Definitely Keely and Jack brought me down to assist with social media in Victory Lane this past weekend, and a completely different side of the world watching the operational side go down. So Jarrett Breyer took the win in the late model, and Austin McDonald got the win in the pro. I can't even recap the champions. Do you have the champions over there?
Carson Quapple was the champion of the late models. I did not get who the champion of the pro late models were. Understand the 602 mods. Lee Jeffries won that race. And was it Tour mods? Yeah. Matt Hirschman got the win in that race. That was a pretty big deal. Want to send out our condolences and thoughts and prayers and everybody to the Gibbs family. I've heard a lot of things. Everybody was talking a lot of trash Saturday and Sunday about Ty and everything. But let's, okay, Ty did what he did, but let's just let that go. I mean, it's time to let it go.
It is.
And it's all over with. So
I think, and I've even said this, there's Keeley coming in with the clutch answer for the pro late models, but you can dislike someone as an athlete. You can disagree with someone as a human. That's fine. They're still a human being. They still have feelings. And I think Ty may have some growing up to do and learning, but that's any young person in our sport.
But you got to remember, he just started.
That's what I'm saying. He's still a young kid, and unfortunately, with this tragedy, he's going to grow up really fast because he just got a rude awakening going from. I
mean, how would you go to bed the night before you're the champion, and you're celebrating the ultimate thing in your life and your family's life, and you wake up the next morning and your father's gone, and that is back down to the ultimate low, and he didn't get a chance to really, really celebrate that championship in a long-term situation. So, I feel sorry for him. I feel really bad about it. So send out our thoughts and condolences to all of them. Also, the Hendrick Engine Building Showdown is Wednesday and Thursday this week, and it's on Racing America, and it's on the Hendrick Motorsports website. I've watched the last 2 years, and that is unbelievable to watch them guys put a motor together in less than 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
So it's unbelievable. And want to put it out there that I'm going down for Stocks for Tots in Mooresville on December the 6th and this coming December 6th. Can't wait to get down there for that. They invited me down. Don Miller and Bob Hislam invited me. So we're going to go down and be a part of that. And I think that's a pretty big deal. And look who it is. Look who it is.
Oh, there's my buddy.
Look who it is. So now we're going to talk. We got the head man here. There he is. How you doing, Steve?
What's happening, guys? How are you?
We're great, man. We're glad you could join us tonight. And, we wanted you to be able to tell us what's going on in Florence because all we had was Shayne.
I think he knows about it. They said, what are you doing for advertising? I think everyone heard.
Well, we got Shayne here, and he's going to give us a rundown on what all is going on down there. I know you got two or 3 days that you got to be down there and be a part of it. So tell us what all is going on and what all you have special that we should know, what some of the drivers should know.
Really, it's going to be a great 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to have late model and limited practice on Thursday. And then on Friday, Thursday we'll park haulers, and then we'll have rotating practice. I'm going to put my glasses on, starting about 2 o'clock, unless anything changes. And Steve, you can correct me on anything if anything's changed. But we'll rotate the late models and limiteds on Thursday. We'll have we're not going to sell any tires on Thursday. We will sell fuel and transponders on Thursday, and then on Friday. Come in Friday, the late models will have the late models, limiteds, mini stocks, street stocks, and we'll rotate those guys in practice, and then we'll have qualifying for each one of those, and then we'll have a mini stock 50 lap race, a street stock 50 lap race, and then a limited late model 100 lap race, and then probably one of the cool things that Steve, I just talked about a minute ago, and you can confirm. So the first and second place in the limited late model race on Friday night will have option of starting the late model race on Saturday, 41st and 42nd, if that's still correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. Cool. It's not just much, everybody else have that. Be able
We're having a problem with your voice there. We can't get the sound. We can't get you on there too good. You keep breaking up.
how about now?
Yeah, you're good now. Go ahead.
I don't know. I had it in the pillow. I got a pillow. I'm sitting on the couch. I just got done pressure washing the infield from monster trucks, and I'm sitting on the couch. Yeah, that's my fault. But what I was saying is, I think it's cool for the Friday night. Those guys. We've had the all-pro limited stuff, and the limited guys are just as important as the late model stock guys. And I think it's going to be awesome for those guys to be fighting for not just a win, but man, think about this. It's going to be we signed up our 56th car today. So a lot of those guys are going to be fighting just to get in on their own. And these guys can have a Friday night show, come up with a win, and then also lock themselves into a race. I think Friday night's going to be a blast.
Yeah. And then something real cool on Friday night after the racing's over with, Steve's planning a block party. And one of the cool things, we're not going to share how it's going to be done yet, unless Steve wants to. I'll let him cover that. But all the late model drivers would do their pool for qualifying up on the stage while the band's playing. At some point in time, we'll have a special deal of how they're going to do their draw. It's not just going to be, your normal pool appeal. It's going to be, it's a pretty good show. So if Steve wants to cover that, he can. And if not, we'll just hold it as a surprise for everybody.
Yeah, I think the majority of it is, kind of is a surprise. But I think, it'll be fun for everybody that's there Friday night to come over to the stage. And, Friday night's always kind of built for having a good time. Like when we all go to races like this, there's time for business and there's time for pleasure. And, I've always wanted to have, even when we were at Myrtle Beach, I wanted to have those moments where you could have the stage and we could be, I don't want to call myself Martinsville or try to be like Martinsville. I want to be, Florence's South Carolina 400 on its own, but I want to have those things that you walk away and you say, man, I had a great time. Like that was just a good experience, whether I was the racer or I was the fan. I enjoyed every minute of that. And I think Friday night is a chance for all of us to kind of get together, have a beer. The fans get to meet the drivers from 1 to 56. Obviously there's one out of those 56 I'm sure they're more excited about hearing, but get to meet all of them, put a face to the driver, because really as a fan, especially these guys, and that's why I've been working my tail off here right now is to dress this place up, is because of what Dale has done. There's going to be new people to this sport in this location with these drivers, and they deserve that moment in the sun. And the Speedway deserves its moment, and we want them to see this place as the best it can be, and the drivers need to be doing the same. So now they're on stage. They get to say, I'm this guy, I'm doing this, I've got this sponsor. Their sponsors get to get their recognition. And then tomorrow, or the next day on Saturday, now those fans are in the stands going, man, I know that person. I saw him. I understand him. I get where he's coming from. But they also got to drink a beer with him, and we all had a good time. So I think the whole thing's going to be fun. I hope it goes exactly how I have it planned. But that's why we have people like Shayne to kind of head this up and make sure that the horse stays in front of the cart before the cart becomes in front of the horse.
Steve, it's got to be great for you to see the response that Dale Jr. has given your racetrack. I mean to tell you, every time I turn around, he mentions it. He talks about going to Florence, going to race at Florence this weekend or the next weekend. He's all about being down there, and I think that's good for you, and that's a big help for you to have that kind of a publicity thing from him.
Well, no, I've said this. Any interview I've had so far about the South Carolina 400 after he mentioned or had he announced that he's coming is that it's really not supposed to be about me, because we all owe him a debt of gratitude right now, what he's trying to do for short track racing. So yes, is it coming to me right now? But he did it for North Wilkesboro. He did it for so when this deal went down, his first intention and his first intent was to make sure that the 42nd person in the field got as close to their tire money back as they could. And that was his thing. He came out of it. It wasn't a conversation between the two of us. It was, this is what I want to do for you. And this is what I want to do for the drivers. And so we talked about it. He wanted middle back. He was all about it. So, again, what he's doing for short track racing right now, I think we all are we should sit back and just enjoy the ride, because he really is passionate about our sport, and the fact that he wants to make sure it's as strong as it possibly can be. And, again, I say it every day, is I'm honored to just be a part of what he's doing. And I'm going to do my part to make sure that this show, and Shayne's going to do the same, that this show that he's coming to is going to be quality. It's going to be start to finish the way we expect it to be. We're going to put it on 100%. It's going to be a great event. We're all going to walk out of here and go, man, that was cool. And then, hope that we can do it again in February.
Yeah, just to kind of back up what Steve said, referencing back at Myrtle Beach to the Friday night deal. Friday night was always really cool at Myrtle Beach, because no matter what you were, an official, a racer, a owner, or whatever, there was about 20 pig cookers going out in the parking lot. Everybody was cooking. Everybody was having a beer and enjoying each other. And, when Steve and I, when he was telling me about Florence 2 years ago, he said, "You've got to come watch. It's just cool racing. It's not like it's just racing. It's cool racing. And
well, I tell you,
he was right.
I enjoyed it last year when I was down there, because it was, or this year, earlier in each year, whatever it was. I really enjoyed it. And it was, you have a great track. It was some great racing down there, and I really appreciate you letting me come down. Hopefully, I can come back this time too. I told Shayne I was coming down there, but I hope you'll let me come in and hang out with you.
Absolutely. No, it's as a racer, I've driven here a couple of times now, just in a super truck. But man, it does. It drives. I hate to say it, because I always kind of feel bad speaking of it like this, but compared to Myrtle Beach, I love it to death, and I miss it every day. But facility wise, Florence actually produces a better event, a better race. Could I use about 100 more feet each end of the infield right now? Yes, 100%. But but as far as the actual racing, it's great, man. It's a cool place. Charlie built a great facility. I tell people that I've told Shayne this 100 times, is that there's divine intervention where Myrtle Beach unfortunately probably was going to go, whether it was this year, next year. It left in August 15th, 2020, but it was happening at some point. Well, when I signed the deal here with Charlie, it was July 6th of 2020. He died August 1st, 2020. So let's say Myrtle Beach Speedway lasts one more year and it closes. Well, then Charlie passes away August 1st and this place closes. Now we've lost two good facilities in the PD, the South Carolina area. So I hate that Myrtle Beach is gone. I loved racing there. I loved being a part of it. I love the history of it. But man, I'm telling you right now, Florence, we're putting our head down, working our tail off to make sure it's as strong as it can be. And it's not going anywhere. I can promise you one thing, that I'll never sell this place for a housing development on my end. So we're going to be a racetrack through and through.
Well, I'm glad of that.
Go ahead and tell us some more about what you got going on Saturday.
Okay, so just one thing, and I'll say it 100 times, and Steve will too. The big help is going to be the spotters, or either some team member having a headset on, listening to the tower. That's such a big help at all the other races, getting stuff in line. So I'm going to preach that up until the race, and then all the weekend having somebody with a headset on. Well, then we go into Saturday. We'll come in at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. The late models, we'll have a driver's meeting with the late models, the super trucks, legends, and bandos, and then we'll have a late model practice from 9 to 9:40, and then we'll start doing some tire sales early in the morning. And then we'll do our bando practice, legend practice, super truck practice, and then we'll have another late model practice at 10:50. And we'll do a rotating practice all the way up until the late model's final practice is from 2:30 to 2:50. And then we'll start at about 3:40. We'll start our late model tech and getting everybody in line and going from there. And then one of the cool things that I'm going to like about this race, when qualifying starts. We're going to qualify, and if anything's changed, Steve's here to correct, but we're going to lock in the top 20. And then whatever is left in the field, it'll divide up in two 10-minute rounds of like a qualifying practice. And the top 10 out of each one of those will go to the
That's
feature.
cool. That's
So I think that's going to be nice. It'll be the first time I've ever did something like that, you know. So I think Steve's done it a couple of times, and he said it's pretty cool deal. So I'm excited about that. And then we'll have a Bando 30-lap race, a Legend 40-lap, Super Truck 75, and then we'll have the late model stock car 200 race, and it's in 3 stages. First stage 75 laps, then another 75, and then we'll have a 50-lap Terry Evans shootout at the end. So go ahead.
So with that, it'll be controlled pit stops or no? I mean, you can't lose positions on the.
We're just going to do a regular break. We'll come in and just do a regular break.
So they're not going. Are they going to have
Go out
opportunity to
where
work
they
on
come
cars?
in.
Yeah, and the lineup will be set before they come in.
Right.
We'll take care of the free pass, and just it's not a cone race. It's a free pass, and it'll be a double file restart. But you know, every restart, the lineup will be done, and then double file. It's not a cone race. So we'll take care of the lineup prior to coming in for each break. We'll take care of the free pass, and then we'll come in, and then you know the spotters will play a key role again, helping us get everything lined back up on the back stretch. We'll come around and we'll get heat in the tires, and then we'll go back racing again. Questions have been on the tires, and right now, Steve, I don't think he knows exactly what is coming, but our goal is right now to sell 4 new tires purchased at the track for qualifying. Those 4 tires will be mounted on Saturday and impounded in between 9 and 2:30. 4 tires purchased at 4 new tires purchased at the track, but then each team can bring 4 tires.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
just the same thing we done at Martinsville.
Right.
Each team can bring 4 tires. We'll scan them. We'll check them in for the car. So you're going to buy 4 for qualifying. You'll buy 4 for practice, and then you can also check in 4 for practice. So you'll have 8 tires for practice.
Yeah, which Shayne, I'm so they're showing up tomorrow. I'm confident in saying that we will be doing 10 tires. So
Okay.
So it's a guarantee now. Is that we're gonna cap the field right now? We're at 56. We're capping it at 60. We're not gonna let any more in after 60, and that way every team's gonna be able to get 10 tires. So 6 of them will be for race, and 4 of them will be for practice. If the teams choose the other 2, they can take home. I mean, they're theirs. They can own them. If they decided they didn't want to buy those 2, they don't have to. But to be in the race, you got to have all 6 for the race, and you get your 4 practice. But every team's going to have the ability to buy 10 tires up to 60 cars.
Awesome.
Wow, that's pretty wild. That's pretty good.
F45s, 85 and a quarters chalk mark.
Okay.
All right, cool. That's good.
Yeah. So you know, it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like we said. It's going to be a good deal. I did have one. I got a few calls today, and I sent them out. The last one I just got, Marcus Richmond just messaged me, but they were curious about the combinations and the weights, and everybody's starting to ask that question. I got a few today. So Mike Cox worked with him, and he come up with our engine and weight program, and he provided that to us. So you know, Mike Cox is in charge of tech, you know, and the staff down there. But the 604 crate will be 3050, 1350 on the right with the 650 and the 1-inch open spacer plate. The GM upgrade will be 3100, 1400 with the 390 CFM or the 500 with the taper plate. So the 500 in the rule book, but also they're going to be allowed to run the 390 carburetor. And just for guys worried about the 390 carburetor, when Mike Cox was in charge of the tech program of UARA. That was the carburetor of choice. So he has all the tools. He's probably about one of the most well-versed, knowledgeable people on a 390 carburetor out there. So I feel confident that there's not going to be any games played with the 390. The Harrington Enforcers 3100, 1400 with the 650 CFM and the 1-inch open spacer, and the Ford Crate, the 347 Senior 3100, 1400 with no spacer plate.
Cool.
Right now, and that's just about as close as you can get to the NASCAR rule book as anything, with the exception of the 390 carburetor, of bringing that in just to kind of give it a little equalizing boost, because the motor of choice right now is the Harrington or the Ford Crate, horsepower wise. So I think Mike done a great job of putting this together. So anyway, other than that, do we have any more questions? I guess, but just the big thing is going to be the spotters, helping us throughout the day. And
now they're at Florence. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. They're at Florence. The spotters are right beside the booth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing at times, and it's a terrible thing at times also. But
well, I was thinking that when I was down there the last time, because a couple of them just happened to walk in the door there, and I was thinking this might not be a good idea.
Real convenient.
Yeah. So, and I've actually it will be ready by the time. So the other thing I've done that I'm building a third row, because the one thing we've had issues with is that line of sight. So I've had like the first row against the rail that I put up. Then I built a second level, but the second level is not enough for 42 cars to have enough spotters. So we're building a third tier to that. So everyone's going to be able to stay on the same platform. Last year, I put a ladder up on the building to the right of the tower, and some of them went over there because it was too congested and no one could, it couldn't get enough arm rate. They couldn't see what they were looking for. So I'm building a third tier. So yes, everyone's going to be able to be on the same platform this year. And just, it helps. It's nice to be able to walk outside as long as they're not angry at you. It's nice to walk outside. Say, hey, put your guy in this spot if they can't hear you. So, man, like I said, like Shayne talked about with Friday nights, and I mean, it's a busy race weekend. If you're a race fan, you're about to get the best. I feel like our prices on stuff are reasonable to the point where, we're not gouging anyone because Dale Jr. is coming. We're putting on the same show. We've done the same ticket pricing, the same pit pass pricing. But man, we're gonna do the stuff that I've wanted to do for a long time, whether it's the Friday night concerts. I think it's gonna be so much fun for the drivers, because I'm hoping they're gonna get up and be able to like I said, showcase themselves and have a good time with the fans, sign some autographs, and then Saturday, man, we come to just sun up to sundown racing. That's my favorite part, I think, about it has been since I've been involved in Myrtle Beach, is, man, the nonstop action when it comes to racing on track. Like when you're there, it's just race car after race car, whether it's a truck, it's a mini stock, the street stock. If you're a race fan, you're getting what you want out of this weekend. And, and then we're adding in the other stuff. So, man, it's just, it's going to be a cool weekend. Junior obviously puts emphasis on it. And actually one thing I was thinking about when you guys were talking about, man, how cool is it going to be? And I speak for my son. How cool is it going to be for these Bandolero and Legend drivers, these 8 to 18-year-old kids that are going to get to have their chance in front of 3,000 people? Late model stock guys, some of them raced Martinsville and had the chance to do that. But, man, could you imagine being a kid and get to go out there and perform in front of that kind of crowd? It's going to be cool for them.
It's really going to be interesting, too, because they're going to enjoy every minute of that. Especially know they're going to be on the track with Dale Jr. I mean, at the track with Dale Jr., not on the track with him, but at the track with him. That's pretty cool. But one thing, Steve, before I let you go, last year when I was down here, you were a jack of all trades. I saw you down there rounding cars up in the pit area. I saw you grabbing signs off the side of the fence while the race was going on. You leaned over and got the sign. I'm thinking, this guy's nuts.
Yeah, blame that on my dad, but go ahead.
No, but you are a jack of all trades, and it shows in what you got going on down there and in your racetrack. And I think that's a great thing. I appreciate, you putting in all that hard work to have a good racetrack like you do.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, what I tell people all the time is I do it for the love of the sport. You know, I grew up in it. I've been in it since I was 5. You know, I just have a passion for it, just like the rest of us. And I want to just give the best thing that I can do every week. It doesn't matter if it's a local night, if it's the big race. I want whoever comes to have a good time and to enjoy themselves. And you know, me racing Martinsville, you know, I say that I'm doing that because I'm trying to do my research, right? Like I'm doing that because I just want to see what it's like to be a race car driver. No, I want to be a race car driver. I just that's come and gone. So you know, but I know what it's like to be a race car driver, and I want to make sure they all have a good time. And I'm gonna bust my tail from start to finish, and you know, I'm trying to get to the point where you know, my kids they're starting to get involved, and I hope that they enjoy it. But you know, end of the day, it takes people, right? So you're sitting next to the man that's got to make this work. So I'm going to be running around, I'm sure this time, you know, doing a little bit more concessions than I would control stuff. So, but I'll have hands on as much as I can. And but Shayne's he's got the lead here, so he's got the main cap, and he's going to make everything go the way it's supposed to.
And I tell you, one of the cool things is, and one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to come down there, Garrett Zacharias is going to be racing down there for this race, and I think that's cool because I'm a big Garrett Zacharias fan. I mean, he and I go back a long ways.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, and Shayne knows this, and it goes to my son Owen, and it goes to Garrett, that he's still no different once he's inside the race car at Florence. So if he shows up and decides to wreck somebody, he goes to the rear like everybody else. But But at the same time, you know, what he's been through and what my uncle's been through, and Jack, you know a little bit more about it than probably a lot of people. My uncle had a massive stroke to the point he's same as he was, but he's getting better, and he's doing as good as he can for the situation he was put in. But you know, Garrett came out last week or a couple weeks ago and ran the PD 225 with us. Man, he did a great job. He's in good equipment with Kendall and them, but to get put in a late model like that, or a limited late model, the same thing as a late model, and do as well as he did. He had a little bit of a trouble deal in qualifying. They had a bad carburetor in practice. They put a different carburetor on, ended up being the wrong one, which put him to the rear, but he made his way back up to finish in 6th. So, you know, Garrett's a young, talented driver. You know, like I said, the Zacharias tradition goes a long ways. For those that don't know it, we go way back to the 50s and 60s. You know, and heck, I got in between my uncle RJ, Chris, Tom, Rick, Terry. I mean, then you got cousins, and I mean, there's piles of us, right? So, you know, but again, it goes back to it's in my blood, and I don't know how to get it out. I've tried. At one point, I thought I got it out, and then it came right back.
No, it don't go that easy. Kenny Schrader told me the only way you get rid of it is die.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's going to stay there.
Yep.
So anyway, well, Steve, appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll be down there to see you that weekend, because I can't wait. I've been talking about this for a long time, and I like going down and hanging out with Shayne some while, you know, somebody has to be his friend. And but anyway, appreciate it. Thank you for being with us tonight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks, guys.
I mean, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so you know, one thing he talked about that you and I can relate to is the eating part. So, you know, every track is known for something. Okay, like here's the Redneck Fries, Martinsville Hot Dogs, South Boston, Bologna Burgers. Well, there, if you've never had the breakfast sandwiches that they started making at Myrtle Beach, and now it's transitioned to Florence because it's Steve and them. If you've never had the breakfast sandwiches, don't stop at Hardee's or Bojangles. Get a breakfast sandwich at the Speedway.
I did that last year, I think. They were just fixing them when I first got there.
I'll tell you, they're it's nothing special, but it's just how it's spread. It's hot. You know, it's on a croissant. It's
good.
It's just a good sandwich. And then also, in case people don't know, there's RV spots, not at the track, not on the track, but there's RV spots that they're selling. They're selling out, and those are going pretty quick. So, you know, if people come with RVs, it's going to be a good time, and you know, everybody's going to be a part of the block party.
Yeah, that's going to be fun
on Friday night, which is nice. You know, but other than that, just like I said, I'm going to talk about it 100 times. The spotters or a person monitoring the tower throughout the entire weekend. You know, Thursday's not such a big deal, with it just because it's just kind of an easier day. But Friday and Saturday, we're going to require somebody on the team to monitor the tower so we can line cars up, send cars. You know, we actually just kind of referencing how it makes it work. You know, Martinsville, we came in, the cars were covered, uncovered the cars, lined them up on the back stretch, sent them to the front stretch, got everything lined up before the pre-race or before the fan experience, and we did that in 31 minutes. You know, so the team representative or the spotters just play a huge deal. And so
I can't wait. I'm going to do everything I can to get there, come down and hang out with you because I want you to have a friend.
oh yeah, well,
You know,
hopefully I'll get one.
I'll come hang out with you for, you know, if they want to come in and beat you up in there, whatever, in the tower, I'll put a chair there and block the door so they won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I came out here, Lori and I, you know, we came out to the Shayne race and watched, you know, walked around in the pits, and I guess being gone makes people kind of talk to you, I guess, whatever. But those people that were just coming up to me, talking to me, saying hi to me, you know, even Randy smiled at me.
People don't even like the people that didn't even like you before.
Yeah. So, and I'm hoping Randy's big news means he's selling everything and coming to the dark side. Okay.
But that ain't what that don't work.
Maybe he's getting ready to come to the dark side.
No, he ain't coming to the dark side.
Couldn't pay me enough to do that.
But anyway, anybody else has got any other questions? Message me on Facebook or get with me, or you know, call me. Most everybody's got my number, or somebody knows how to get in touch with me. But I will tell you that my wife has already bought me some new socks.
Oh boy.
For the South Carolina 400, and she's getting me ready, and we do have more sweater vests coming.
That's a very important and valid question.
Yes.
That
Absolutely.
people want to know.
Well, anyway, Shayne, thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here.
And thank y'all
If
for
I can
having
help
us.
you out any way I can. And hopefully I'll be down here to hang out with you for a little while because I can't wait to get down there for this race.
Oh man, it's gonna be great. You know, taking some guys, they've already got a good staff, but just so the team knows, you know, guys and gals from here, but Robert Turner from Ace is coming to work. Justin Ellis is coming. He'll work in the pits up till race time. Then he'll do fire and safety in the tower, you know, so I can just focus right on the 42 cars. So maybe I'll leave with a couple more friends.
Yeah.
And then Matt Sims is coming. Gloria Barbie will be in the tower. My brother-in-law, Steve Falls, who did tires out here for years. And the good thing about him doing tires, he doesn't know any of the teams.
That's a good thing.
So he's doing tires for us. And then hope we're not leaving anybody else. I got Justin, Matt, Robert, and myself, and Steve. Yep. So I think I covered everybody. And Gloria in the tower. And then I'm going to bring in one line score for the late model race. We have the computer on everything, but then we're going to have some line scoring in the tower too. So hadn't quite said that yet, but hopefully somebody will have a baby prior to, so I can bring a young lady.
Oh, you're talking about Elvira. You want Elvira to show up at that.
But no, so hopefully things will happen, and hopefully Miss Stephanie Ranger will be able to
That'd be good.
because anyway, just have a lot of family with me. But anyway, thank y'all for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Thank
Had a
you.
great time. Thank you.
We'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get Kevin real quick.
Okay. All right, y'all.
Susie.
See ya.
All right, go home, go to bed.
Yes. All right, y'all. See y'all later.
All right, let's bring Kevin Bellicourt in here with me. Now, I'll tell you what, this guy here, I don't know what it is, but I have a lot of respect for him. I've been around him a long time, and I love where he's at in the sport, and I love where what he's done. So I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt or anything there, Kevin, but hey, you're still like my son. You're still special.
Well, I appreciate that, Jack. Thank you for having me on, and that I really appreciate that. We're having fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the team, the Spire Motorsports team this year seem to be a little bit getting better and better as time goes on. But it's got to be hard for you because you don't have the same driver in that car every week.
It's definitely a challenge. Luckily, we're not going to have to worry about that next year. Everybody saw that announcement probably a few weeks ago. But it's definitely a different challenge when you don't have the same driver every week. You're just doing different things and having to adjust to that. But it was nice to get a little bit of a rhythm with Landon there at the end of the year. I think that was good. He ran a majority of our races at the end, so that was nice. And then obviously next year we're excited about having Ty in the race car full time and not just have one driver in the car full time, but to have somebody like Ty in there is going to be just a huge addition to our program, and we're excited to get going.
So when do you, as a crew chief, and Ty as the driver, when do you all start getting together and start talking about things and kind of get up to speed together on what both of you do, and get that comfort with each other?
Right away. Once the announcement came out, obviously me and Ty knew a little bit before the announcement, but we were able to start, communicating a little bit text wise, and we talked, and he'd come over to the office and sit down and talk when he could. But we obviously wanted to be respectful of the fact that he was still in the GMS car and we were doing our own thing. So we never got a chance to work together yet, but we just kind of started that relationship. And then basically Sunday night, 2023 started for us. And so that's kind of how we look at it. We, actually, all of his stuff is over at the shop already, seats and whatnot. So he's enjoying a little family time right now, still out on the West Coast, but he'll be back next week, and we're going to spend some time over at Chevy in the sim and just start working towards next year and start building our notebook up. So as quickly as possible, we'll get in there and start working on stuff. Obviously, nothing's quite like at the track, so we'll do that as we go with the Coliseum. But we've started working on next year already.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you too, because obviously there's no testing going on and everything. So the time you spend at the Chevrolet simulator and everything, that has to be big time stuff that you got to do to get that timing down between the two of you.
For sure. And it's just working through stuff, just maybe something that we had different or weren't sure if he would like it. Just working through stuff like that with him is going to be a big thing for us during this off season. And then, like I said, building the notebook, you get an opportunity to go in there and work on some of these tracks before we get there. Practice is obviously limited. So, getting time in there and working together and trying to get an idea of what he likes in the race car. And it's nice because he's got so much experience. He's a veteran. He knows what he wants. He knows what he's looking for a feel. And so we've already kind of started working on trying to develop that for him. And we're really excited about getting in there and getting working on stuff and just getting a head start on next year is all we're really thinking about right now.
So I got a question. This is a broad question, I guess. Now that he's coming in, do you all have a relationship with RCR, or are you on the other side with the Hendrick organization?
We have a really good working relationship with Hendrick. We run Hendrick engines, which Hendrick and ECR engines work very closely together. So it's one's based out of Welcome, one's based out of Concord. Our engines do come out of Concord at Hendrick. And we have a great working relationship with those guys. Can't say enough about what they do for us and how they've helped keep our program, pointed in the right direction with this next gen car and helping us. And we use their pit crews as well. So our relationship is going to stay pretty tight with Hendrick. Obviously, it's a big Chevy family, and we're working more towards that Chevy family being all under one umbrella. That's what they're trying to do as a manufacturer and an OEM. So, and I think what perfect timing for that, obviously, for us as an organization at Spire. But our relationship with Hendrick is very important to me, and I know our ownership and our management team. And obviously we're thrilled to have Ty in the car and to have that relationship there also with Richard and everybody up there. It's going to be great. But I think the biggest thing is everybody understanding that Chevy is going to put a lot more emphasis on all of us working together as one big unit. Be it Hendrick, RCR, Spire, Trackhouse, Colleague, GMS, they want to see us all perform well and succeed. So I think that's going to be a big thing going forward for our OEM, our Chevrolet, involvement relationship.
All right, you've had this year with the next gen car and everything. Give us how you feel about how things have gone this year with the new next gen car.
It's obviously been a learning process. I think, I think at the beginning of the season, all of us were working through things that you can't anticipate till you're at the racetrack and trying to get it through tech and trying to learn and trying to make it go fast as you can all at the same time. You saw a lot of tire failures and stuff like that happen where guys were pushing as hard as they could. and didn't know exactly where that line was yet, and Goodyear didn't know where that line was yet. So, I think we've evolved and gotten better as the year goes, obviously. I think the racing's been really good. Competition's been really close. You see all the different winners. I think that NASCAR's done a nice job reacting to certain things. Obviously, safety's been a hot button issue for a lot of the drivers, and NASCAR's reacting to that. Not everybody can see that. Not everybody knows that. Sometimes it's behind closed doors, but our cars are going back to technique already. We already have a new chassis in the building that's updated with some different bars to try to make the hits a lot more forgiving for the drivers. So that's something NASCAR's working on, and us as the teams. I think the car's great. I think it's done a good thing for the sport. Cost effective wise, it's better than what we had. Competition wise, I believe it's better than what we had. I think it brings everybody a little closer together. You see different people coming in ownership roles. Justin Marks, Spire was already here, but the whole plan was next gen. That's what they've worked towards. So I think it's great. I like the car. I think it's fun to work on, and it's produced good racing. So I think we're making gains as we go, obviously making the car safer. Goodyear's learning, what they need to do tire wise, and we're learning what lines not to cross and where you can push and where you cannot push. You're seeing guys not blow left rear tires every race now. So everybody's learning together, and I think the car's done a really nice job of making the racing good on Sundays.
So NASCAR has probably said to you guys, we're working on this. What do they give you any input into what they're looking at or what they want done?
I think they looked at everybody, and talked to the drivers and looked back at hits, that were obviously situations. You can look at Alex Bowman, you can look at Kurt Busch. I think everybody realized quickly that rear impacts were a problem. Front impacts are still, hard, but drivers were able to take those, and you saw a lot more forgiveness in the chassis on front impacts. I use Cody Ware as an example. He took a brutal hit at Texas, and he was beat up, no question. His foot was hurt, but for all time, I sat next to him on the plane home, and he was in good shape. He was okay. Whereas the rear impacts, the drivers are just taking a lot more, and even some of the side impacts, just hits that don't look that bad. I had Landon tell me after Vegas that he couldn't believe the car could still roll, let alone come back and get worked on and keep racing if we needed to. So that's obviously something that they've worked on. They've kept us up to date on what they've been working on and what they've done to try to make it better. And we already know what we're doing. And now it's a matter of getting the chassis updated and getting them back in the shop. And then we'll just look and see. Nobody wants to see crashes or anything like that, but it's inevitable. And once they do happen, we'll see. Now, hopefully the drivers are not taking as much of a hit, and we'll see how much damage is done to the race car now that there's been a lot more structural integrity, so to speak, taken out of the car to let it give and let it, flex, so to speak. We'll see what now more gets broken and what doesn't going forward.
So what's the off season look like for Kevin Bellicourt this off season? I know it's going to be a lot of work to be done, but I know you got some time to get out and do some different things for a little bit.
For sure. We enjoy a little bit of time off. I'm gonna spend a lot of time with my kids. I got a 6 and 7 year old, and love the holidays with them. I just love Christmas and Thanksgiving, just no matter what. I think it's the best time of year. So it's a nice opportunity to recharge your battery. But like you said, there's still a lot of work to be done. Me and Sparks, the other crew chief at Spire, we're talking about that today. It's a good opportunity for us where we've got both of our drivers signed. We know exactly what we're doing next year. It's the best position I feel like Spire Motorsports has been in. So we're not going to sit on our hands these next couple months. We want to get ahead of stuff. We want to keep working on it, trying to get better, trying to grow, trying to make our program better, because the Cup field is going to be so tough next year. It was already tough this year, and it's getting even deeper. So that's our goal is to work through the off season and try to get our stuff as far ahead as we can by the time we come to January, because January is always the same. You always feel like you're behind. You're always thrashing to get to the Coliseum. You're always trying to get your 500 cars together. So we want to try to do all the work we can in November and December. But we're going to enjoy a little time off, time with our families. I think I'm going to actually take a trip out to Seattle with Ty when the Panthers play out there, and spend some time out there and go to the Panthers game and just hang out and get a little time with him and hang out, get to know each other a little bit better. And other than that, I don't have any big vacations planned or anything like that. I think I'm just going to chill around here. Like I said, spend some time with the kids and have a little fun around here.
So I know you keep talking about the race at the Coliseum, about that, that coming up and everything. What did you think about that race at the Coliseum last year?
I think that the race was good. I think we'll make it better. I think that nobody knew what to expect. None of us had raced that car yet. NASCAR hadn't raced that car yet. So And then we take it to a football field and race around it in a big stadium. So nobody knew what to expect. I think it put on a pretty good show. I think we'll put on a better race this year. I think the atmosphere was electric. I think NASCAR knocked it out of the park on that one. The whole city of LA seemed to get behind. I mean, that part of LA, obviously LA is huge. You know, on the other side of it, they probably didn't know what was going on. But the Coliseum was packed. The crowd was electric. Just a totally different type of crowd than we see every week at the racetrack. And people were excited to see the cars and excited to be a part of the race. And I thought that was really cool. And just being inside the LA Coliseum and racing and walking in there through the tunnel, it was very cool. So I think it's an awesome deal. I'm excited that we're going back. I think it's like I said, I think it's going to be under the lights this year, which is, I think, going to be a positive. I think that'll make it look even cooler and kind of set the electricity even a little bit higher. And we're excited to get there and get the season kicked off. So it definitely adds to the beginning of the season, going all the way out west and coming back for Daytona and then going on our West Coast swing. It makes things pretty hectic at the beginning, but we've got 3 months off to rest up for it. So we'll be ready for it.
That's the All-Star race at Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I know that was a good question too. What do you think about the race being the All-Star race being at Wilkesboro this year?
I love it being back in the Charlotte area. I think that I understand why it moved around a little bit, but I think the All-Star race being in the Charlotte area is great. It's great for those 2 weeks of racing. It's great for the lead up to the Coke 600. And I mean, Wilkesboro, it's going to be awesome. That place, I didn't get a chance to go to the late model race. I just didn't get up there for it. But Corey went and a bunch of people went, and it was just electric from what I was told. The place was packed, and it was just a great atmosphere. So now we're going to go and take the Cup cars there and put on the All-Star race. I think it's going to be great. I think the racing is going to be awesome, and the atmosphere is just going to be so cool. So huge tip of the hat to NASCAR and everybody at North Wilkesboro getting that put together. I think it's going to be a great event, and it'll be a lot of fun. And like I said, I like it being back in the area. I think it's great here. That's just me personally.
A lot of different venues this year too. And you got that, and going back to the Coliseum, you got North Wilkesboro, but then the road course, the road race at Chicago. I think that's going to be. We'll see how that works out. I mean, I'm a traditionalist, I guess, because I'm not really into that. But you guys that run it probably are excited for that to happen.
I'm excited for the changes. I understand. I agree with what you're saying, traditionalist, and I think certain things will never change. But I do think that it's exciting to see us on a street course and what doors that opens, and being in downtown Chicago on a big weekend, and NASCAR kind of having center stage there. I think that's exciting. I think it's good to try new things. I think when I found out about the Coliseum last year, I was like, what? Like, we're going to go put a racetrack inside there and try to go race? And I'm telling you that the place was just, they knocked it out of the park. It was absolutely packed, and it was a great environment. So I think that we look at the Chicago street course, and we know there's going to be, from a competition standpoint, we're going to go try to make them, as competitive as we can. And people are talking about, is there passing zones? Is there not passing zones? I think it's about understanding that it's an event and going there. We're going to put on a good race. I don't think that there's very often the Cup cars don't find a way to put on a good race. These guys have got bumpers for a reason, and they'll use them when they need to. But I think that it's going to be a great event and a great thing in the city of Chicago for us to be able to be, like I said, kind of center stage on a big weekend. And I think it'll be cool to see how the city reacts and what kind of crowd we draw, and just the environment and how we can utilize that and kind of be different a little bit. And I think it's good.
I do too. I think it'll be all right. I'm still a traditionalist. I'm not buying into it till after I see it. That's the way I do it.
I understand it. I understand.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate you spending time with us. I know you're a busy person, got a lot going on. Thank you for every time you've ever come on and been a part of our show, because I look forward to it. I always look forward to you guys that I've had some dealings with along the way. I enjoy being able to see you guys and go to the racetrack and see you there. And I appreciate your time.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Anytime it's a track, always stop by. We look forward to seeing you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Talk to you later, and we'll see you real soon.
All right. Y'all take care.
All right. Man.
Bye.
All right. Kevin Bellicourt. I mean, he's
You go to Chicago, you better carry a bulletproof vest.
Well, don't they have like a shooting policy for the race? Like if there's gunfire or something, like it's like the lightning policy. Like if there's lightning in the area, they can't race but for so long. I'm like, well, so how is this going to go?
Everywhere they go new. Probably not Wilkesboro. I wouldn't think that would, but everywhere they go new. They went to Mexico. My son was on the pit crew down in Mexico, and the car they had fell out of the race, and they left it on the back straightaway. They had, they just pulled it out of the way. It wasn't in the way. It was out of the way, and they just left it there. And the driver got out and walked on back over to where it was. So after the race, they went over to get it. They'd already had the car stripped. He said they went back over there. They had to go back and get tires to put on the car, pull it back over there.
Sitting on cinder blocks.
Yeah, well, he said it wasn't even on cinder blocks. They just dropped
left
it.
there.
I mean, all the stuff was out of it, was gone. And he said the police told him, well, we told you can't leave the car sitting there.
Told you that was a bad idea.
And it's like when they went, all the trucks had to go together. All the tractor trailers had to go into Mexico and out of Mexico in a line with police escorts and everything. That's the only way they could get that race down there. Needless to say, they didn't race there very much after that. All right, we got Ricky, Randy, Robbie.
Something. One of them names.
I evidently messed that up, so
That's all right.
I got called.
I've been called worse.
I got called quick on it, and, anyway. But
I've been called worse.
Anyway, now the man has a big announcement.
Oh,
He's
You got news.
a lot of people
I
probably
already
know.
know. Yeah.
Most of them know.
Well, I guess they don't know that I've run my last Super Street race.
No, they
On
probably
the 29th, that was my last. Sold my car.
sold the car right in. This.
I didn't even run my car, I run somebody else's.
That's right.
I run Tommy Gilday's car, and he told me when I got it, he goes, don't bring nothing back but the steering wheel. He goes, if you get mad, throw it. Don't go chase it either. Just don't worry about it. So I took it back in one piece.
What is he doing now?
He's getting ready to add on to his house, so he's going to take it. He said he might run a few races. Now that I got the car back together for him, and that'd be it. And then he's going to build a new car.
So tell us all the news of what you got going on. Make it official. Make it official.
All right, I signed a contract to be Jack Dotson's crew chief and.
Okay. I didn't say the lie.
And driver coach. Oh, that ain't it?
No, that
That's
ain't
the
it.
script you gave me.
Oh, well, don't go by my scripts.
Well,
If you're going to be a driver coach, there's somebody else that probably needs your help.
Here we go.
Probably needs your help.
who's that?
Scott.
Oh, I'd help him. Ain't no problem. I tell him
Hey,
which pedals the gas and which ones brake.
Scott needs a whole lot more help than what you can.
Actually, I bought a Grand Stock car and I plan to come back full season 2023 running a Grand Stock.
Are you excited about all this?
Oh yes, best car I've had in my career, I guess.
So what's it going to be like? Well, you got it already, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, what's it like when you get in that car and look at it and say, man,
I get in
now
and I'm
this is more than I've had. This is
yeah, I
more than
look
I've
in
had in a
that car and
while.
I'm like, man, it ain't nothing like I've been sitting in. You know, everything I've built everything I've ever raced myself.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So
This was a professionally built car.
all right, cool. So that's big for you
Yeah,
to be able to.
I'm real excited. And possibly a few limited late model races, maybe.
With the same car, or
No.
you got another car lined up for that? Oh,
Maybe, yeah. Somebody else is.
okay.
got
I was
a
just
car.
stopping. You were going there.
He's like, wait a second.
Yeah, possibly a few limited late model races, but full season Grand Stock.
Okay, well,
I was going to stay in Super Street, but I got to, I help Austin Davis and I help Tommy. And if I get out there and outrun them, then they're like, well, he ain't giving us what he's got. I did outrun Austin the last race. He didn't like that much. But
He didn't like that much.
I bet he didn't like it.
he told me, when you come out there, I'm gonna wear you out. I'm like, okay. And practice goes down. I'm all loose. I'm on tires at 2 years old. So I could give the sprint cars a lesson in sideways down the straightaway. And he comes down the corner and hits me, so I lock the brakes on him. After practice, he goes, man, what's that? I'm like, okay, you won practice. The race ain't started yet.
And you were really loose down here, because a couple of times you come down through here, you were almost sideways.
Almost. I was looking at you on the road.
Picking up was sideways.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, wait a minute now.
The tires were 2 years old, and I soaked them. I took a week off so I could soak them. I put 3 coats of soak on them every day for a week. It didn't help them a bit.
Didn't help them.
No, it didn't help at all. I actually de-staggered the car 1.25 inches.
So you bought Autumn Weaver's car.
Yep.
The John Weaver's car, whatever.
Right, she's going back to go-karts.
So,
And they put the car up for sale, and I've been helping them. I helped them the last 2 years.
you even drove the car.
I drove the car. Last year I drove it twice. This year I drove it once. And it's a good car. Like I say, best thing I've ever owned. And real excited. It's a competitive car. Just had to move some things because when I drove her, for her, the steering wheel is like right here rubbing my belly. I go in the corner so I could turn it.
Oh God.
But yeah, it's I'm excited, ready for the season to start.
So what do you that grand stock division? Some weeks it looks like it's got a lot of cars, and some weeks they were really down. Do you think we're going to see a move back into?
I hope so. That's why I like the Super Street. You had a whole lot more cars to race against, and traffic. When you come up to lap them, traffic. When you're racing real tight with somebody, you hit traffic, then that could make or break you. Grand stocks, there's supposed to be 1 or 2 new ones being built. I know Sample sold the 25 car.
Yeah, I heard.
Got the 24 cars up for sale too, and hopefully both of them will be back. And hopefully it's a few cars just sitting right now. But the thing about it is the expense for this, for that division, even the Super Streets.
Well, take a look at the expense now on this then. But the limiteds, what would be the difference in the grand stocks, which to me is close to a limited, regardless how you look at it. But how much difference in expense is it between the 2 cars?
I'm not really sure. Well, you figure the limiters are pretty much a late model on an 8-inch tire and a shock rule, and then you got a crate motor. The grand stocks are on a stock chassis, like an 88 Monte Carlo chassis, 8-inch tire, stock shocks. It's pretty much pretty much like a Super Street on steroids. And so they could gradually move the Super Streets to the grand stocks, but trying to do it from one year to the next is just it's the expense with bodies and springs and shocks and wheels, and then you roller rockers, aluminum intake.
So who all's going to be working on your motor and everything?
It's got a Coleman motor in it.
Uh-oh.
So it's turnkey.
So you're ready to go without having to worry about it too much.
No. And I got my motor. I've had a brand new motor for my Super Street. It's never been started. It's sitting in the garage. So all I have to do is change the intake and roll the rockers on it, and that'd be a spare if I had.
It's always nice to have one of those.
Yeah. So it's.
Speaking from experience.
I sold my Super Street to Christian Keller.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was right. He did tell us that last week.
And, he's talked to me about my motor, but I know how money's tight, especially when you're moving from one division to another.
Oh, yeah.
So
you don't want to cut that. You don't want to cut that out. So now, when you driving the grand stock next year, are you going to be helping all these other guys again next year?
yeah, I even told Christian I'd help him with his car too in Super Street.
Just involved in everything.
And I did more spotting the last 2 years I've spotted in my life.
Wow.
And I spotted for Aiden Millette in the Bandos. I spotted for Austin in the Super Street. Spotted for Terry Carroll in the late model. I spotted some for Debbie Biesecker. One night I was up there for every race, spotting. I had a bag full of radios.
It's a busy night.
Yeah.
So you didn't pick up the wrong radio one time, did you?
No, I dropped one. I think y'all seen it because luckily the cable hung on. I pulled it back.
Back up. Just kidding.
But, yeah, I'm excited.
But you get to experience a spot and get to see what's going on out there. And then
I enjoy spotting with Terry Carroll because when he's telling clear, thank you. Most the light driver I ever seen in my life. But
does he move right when you say clear? Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple guys out there, you tell them move, they ain't going nowhere until you.
Yeah,
You have to yell it at them.
I see. When I say clear, you turn left. I don't care if you're clear or not. Just turn left. But yeah,
Well, I think that's when like you have that relationship with your spotter,
Right.
where like most drivers, like they have that bond, like they start to say clear, you see the car moving.
Right.
They have that level of trust.
And I've learned that with your spotter, if you have a driver that's your spotter, they see things different from, different from just somebody that's never been in a car before.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and Terry's like, I'd see Terry, you come off the corner and he's like, I'm like, you gotta save that tire, And I see him enter the corner wrong, or, I tried the same thing with Austin and went on to Bandos, they're pretty much in line. And I started spotting for Aiden, and I guess I taught him how to pass with Bandos, because I told him, I said, get on the bumper, and then when you go down the back straightaway, move up. And they're gonna look in that mirror. I said, if you stay up there just a little bit, just half the car where they can see it. When you enter that corner, they're gonna move up, thinking you're gonna try to move to the outside and you can drive under them.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
Schnicker.
Yeah, and it worked, and you learn how to pass. A lot of people can race, but can't pass, and that's the thing.
The key in racing.
Yeah.
So when you look at a guy like Scott Allen,
Oh God.
he can't race and he can't pass because you gotta be fast enough to pass somebody. So what do you do then? I mean, just ride?
No, he can get better.
He can get better.
Yeah, he can get better. With the right coach and the right spotter, he can get better.
Okay.
You can't say he's old, because I'll be 65 in January, so I'm still racing. And I'm racing. I do pass.
Yeah, you do. I'll give you that. Yeah. But what's really funny? I was talking to somebody the other day, and he was telling me about. Oh gosh, can't think of the guy's name now. It's on the West Coast. It's racing, but then he's like he's getting ready to turn 80, and he's still racing on the West Coast.
The Red Farmer's still racing.
Yeah, Red Farmer's still racing, and he's still competitive. I mean, he goes out there and is competitive.
Yeah.
So that's.
Somebody asked me how long I'm gonna do it, and I told them as long as I feel like it. I said, if they have to get one of them lifts and lift me up and put me through the window, if I just turn the wheel, mash the gas, I'm gonna race.
You're gonna find a way.
Well,
Actually, this Grand Stock car, my wife is the one who told me to buy it.
Huh?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
believe it.
okay.
Yeah, she's the one that said,
All right.
don't let that deal pass it. You buy it. She actually threw some money in on
Dang. I ain't never heard that before.
it. She likes racing.
She's a good one. I always look forward to seeing her at the racetrack and
Her
talking.
and the dog on the golf cart.
I was gonna leave it alone, but I'm a little sad
I
that the
didn't bring the dog.
Yeah, I'm a
I
little.
could have, but,
Her and the dog. I thought for sure they both would be here.
well, they had to go do their duty and vote.
That's fair. I'll just have
She,
to.
Rita worked today. I didn't. I took the day off.
my grandson saw him. We came in the back there and we drove in, and he saw you standing there with that dog, and he said, "Is that his dog?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "He races with him." He said, "No, he don't." I said, "Yeah." I said, "When he comes out on the track, I'll point him out to you, see if you see the dog sitting in the car with him." And he was determined he was going to see it. But I said, "No, he ain't got the dog in there."
That dog's been in victory lane more than I have. Because every time I've won, she's had pictures. Aiden won, she had a picture. Robbie Babb won, picture. I think Beluso had a picture with her. Yeah, she's been in.
That's like Maverick. He's like, he comes to the racetrack and he'll tell you who's taking him to victory lane, and he goes up and he tells him before the race, "Meet you there."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, okay, big man.
That's cool. I mean, hey, that's what the kids like. I mean,
Yeah.
that's their thing, man. That's pretty cool.
It's funny, that dog though on Saturday was like going to the racetrack, her ears will perk up, she's ready. She'll follow us everywhere we go through the house.
Make sure you don't leave.
Yep.
That's amazing. My grandson does the same thing. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're going to be out there in the Grand Stock this year.
Yeah,
You got it with a
that.
good car.
Yeah.
You'll be ready to go this year.
I made that show.
Last 2 years I run but 3 races. Well, I tried to run a 4th race and got turned into the wall in Tommy's car, Super Street race.
So you ready to do the whole season
Yeah,
this
I only
year?
run 2 last year and 2 this year. So
You're ready to go.
yeah.
So we'll be glad to have
Been
you
out in the
out here.
garage the last 2 days doing stuff.
It's gonna be a long winter.
So, wait a minute now. You said the car was already ready
Well, I
to
got to
go.
get the seat where I need
No,
it, and the
it's that-
steering where I need it.
There's
Had to
no
move
such
the
thing.
radio, but before I could.
So
reach
you're
the
not
radio.
like Scott.
Like I always got to do something to the
Scott goes out and sits in the car and he goes.
Oh my.
just, like, they had the radio behind the seat. I like to be able to get to the radio because if a spotter gets on my nerves, I cut the radio off.
And I think I've heard Scott say he's done that a couple times too.
And, they had to move the steering because it was too close. Get things where I'm
Little
comfortable.
comfort level things.
You just gonna have a little fun with it all during off season, like doing little stuff
That
to
way
it.
you can come out and run some laps. Just
That'd be
get
fun.
in, yeah.
That'd be fun. Get you some laps in the car.
Yeah.
But you've already got some, so it's
Right.
not a big deal. And you've been racing forever, so I mean,
Yeah.
That's not
You
so-
know your way quite well around this
Since
track.
76, I've been racing. So.
That's right. Somebody was asking me about that the other day. Back it was up here. Somebody was asking me how long you've been racing. I said, well, he told us on the show he'd been racing since in the 70s, but I don't know exact years.
First race I ever ran was a 400 lap late model sports race
Ooh.
in 1976.
Ooh.
No power steering.
No power steering?
No, back then wasn't no power steering.
Oh, that was a bear to drive around.
Well, and they didn't have those halfway brakes either. It was like you come down pit road, you change your tires, you put fuel
Go
in,
back
and you
out.
go back out.
You ain't getting a break.
I changed the right front tire like 4 times. I just wait for one tire to cool off, come in, and put the same tire back on it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
But yeah, it's
Well, anyway, I'm glad to see you back. Gonna come back out here. We're gonna get you back on here before the season starts and
okay.
get here and talk about what you got going on. Got any sponsorship news?
Not yet. Looking. Jack Dodson's gonna be on there. I know he's gonna put his sticker.
Oh
on
yeah,
there.
I'll put my sticker on
Get
there.
big money. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll write you a check tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking for sponsors.
Good.
Not gonna turn nothing down.
Well,
Every little bit helps. Like I told somebody the other day, they
be
said,
be careful when you say you're not gonna turn something down.
I'm not.
There was a couple people that took at some places that took on a sponsorship and they told them, no. You can take all the money, you can put all you want to, but you ain't riding around here with that on your car.
I told somebody the other day, they said, how much money, just tire bill alone for the grand stocks is like about $5,000. Just for the tires, because they're like $200 a piece. So you buy 5 the first race, and then just 1, then 2, 1, 2. I said, if I can get 10 sponsors to give me $500 each, there's my tires.
Yeah.
Instead of going and say I need $5,000, give me $500. Come up with 500 more, a lot easier than you
A
can
whole lot
5,000.
easier, yeah.
I tell drivers all the time, especially in today's world, you've got to be very creative and open when you're out there searching for sponsors. And it doesn't matter. I mean, getting a sponsor that provides oil or, your fluid and the different
Yeah.
stuff that you need, getting restaurants to sponsor you to take care of food on race day. There's all these different things that are expenses, and you've got to think outside of the box, and you've got to find those sponsorships, and everyone's doing it, everyone's going after it. So
you got to in that situation, like you said, you got to do stuff to have food for your crew and stuff, and that's a good thing to have a sponsor that does that. But
because PR girls will forget driver's food quite frequently.
Then PR girl would get in a whole lot of trouble probably.
They keep bringing me back.
Yep.
So tell us about your what you had going on this weekend up in Caraway.
Yeah.
You were the queen bee up there this weekend.
I wouldn't go that far. Keely and I had obviously gotten really close this year, and we had been wanting to work together, just hadn't lined up. And I think she texted me like Thursday night, and she was like, it's meant to be. Peyton had some family stuff going on, so she couldn't be at the track Saturday. So I drove down and was supposed to do social media, but if you've never been to Caraway, service is really
bad there, yeah.
So we had no service. Our jetpacks went down. Like, we had nothing. So thankfully, Carson and Peyton, they also do social media, so they were able to get some stuff uploaded. But I got to pretty much just jump in and kind of back up Keely with operations and really get to see the race from a different perspective. It was obviously very hard because Chase was racing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the first time that I was at the track with Chase, not on the radio with him. And we knew that he had to finish in front of Miracle and I think Braden, and so we were pretty confident, qualified third, and then I think it was like lap 40, him and Carson got into it, and he had some damage, had to go to the rear, and it was a very long race.
I bet.
So I think with 2 laps to go, Miracle ran out of gas, and Chase passed him and got Rookie of the Year. And if there was ever a moment of a driver like deserving that break, it was Chase at that moment. I mean, the kid wasn't even supposed to race this year. It was supposed to be one race. And it started at Caraway, and for it to end at Caraway, I was standing in victory lane getting ready to do everything with Cars Tour, and I look over and I like see Miracle off the pace, and I see Chase go by, and I know what just happened, what locked in. And I looked over, and his mom and girlfriend were standing on top of the hauler, and they are just crying. And Chase's mom isn't a crier, but it was a really special moment just for that whole team. Just, it's really a storybook thing, and it wasn't supposed to happen, and it did. And I mean, his whole season was about overcoming and adapting, and he did a great job. And I had a great time with Keely and Jack. Super thankful that they brought me on, and I got to experience that. Might have opened a can of worms. So I'm very excited to see what next season holds.
That will be fun for you.
And the different opportunities to come.
That'll be fun for you if you get hooked up with that. Jack McNally is a real cool guy. I really like him.
Incredible. One of I've obviously, have seen him at the track with Cars Tour, but to just be on the radio and just listen to the magic. And obviously I knew Keely does a lot, but I mean, Keely runs that race. And from calling greens to cautions to just everything in between, she is on it. And in between races, I mean, she has it all planned out, and it's just.
She told us a couple weeks ago, we had her on the show, the girl with the Cars Tour. There isn't but 2 employees with the Cars Tour, her and Jack McNally. That's only 2 people working the Cars Tour. And to have that kind of a tour, they have got a super racing tour there, and to have that and have just those 2 people calling shots on the I mean, that's got to be one of the best things. You got what, 2 different divisions?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why.
And they have it all taken care of, and I think what's so special about that tour is Keely and Jack care about their drivers, and they have a relationship with their drivers, and their door is always open, and the drivers know that they can voice their concerns, they can throw ideas out there, whatever it is. They make sure that they're putting on a show for the fans, but they're also being aware of time and what the teams are putting in and traveling and doing all of that. So
Maybe we can get Randy in a late model.
Hey.
On the Cars Tour.
In a long time, I'd get in.
They did
Jumping in a
release
minute.
their schedule for 2023, so they I think 2023 is going to be a big year for the Cars Tour.
One time it was rumored that Junior was going to buy the tour.
I have not seen that press release.
I heard he's interested in it, but I haven't heard about officially
Well, I
buying it.
think Dale Jr. has been very vocal that he is committed to short track racing and late models, and I mean, it's the crucial part of JRM. So, when he retired, he made it known that he was going late model racing.
Yeah.
And he has been very vocal in that this is where it starts. This is where, we want NASCAR to live on. It's grassroots racing that breeds and grows and farms these drivers to make the show later on. I mean,
if you don't have these grassroots racing like we have around here at Langley, like Hickory, Caraway, some of these places, you don't have a Cup Series. You don't have any of that.
Well, I mean, look, Honeycutt, Pimpleton, all of those guys were racing trucks in Phoenix, and then we're at the late model race on Saturday at Caraway. These guys in the Cars Tour are running trucks and getting Xfinity rides and getting that attention, and they're getting these rides, and Keely does a great job marketing them and teaching them. I laughed and it made my marketing heart so happy. We're in Victory Lane and we're going to interview one of the drivers, Mo Swalowich, and he was out for a concussion. So the car owner was driving and he was walking up and Keely like tells him behind the camera to take his sunglasses off. And it's just, those little things that, these guys coming up into the sport that they don't know. And it's just a respect thing, and it's things that people will chew you out about, but you teach them and you coach them to where by the time they get up there.
It's funny you say that about the sunglasses. I never paid attention to it until Al Pierce sat up here with me one time and told me, he says, I don't talk to nobody if they have sunglasses on. I'll go up and ask them for an interview. They don't take the sunglasses off. I ain't gonna talk to them. I'll go on about my business. If you're gonna spend time with me and I'm gonna try to get you some time on the camera, take your glasses off. Mm-hmm. So that was a big thing. I mean, a lot of these young guys that we had around here that came on the show when Al was helping us, that was his number one pet peeve. Get rid of them glasses.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, and I see it from both sides. There are some things that are super silly. Like some people think that when the media comes to the driver should stop and drop and like run to the media. I don't agree with that.
No.
When Chase gets out of a race car, you'll never see me rush him to an interview. I will always make sure, that he has his time with his team. Chase is very serious. One of the first things he does when he gets out of that race car is he hugs his mama and his daddy, and he thanks his guys. And that he's never going to choose an interview over that.
It's really, it's one of those things where a guy that understands that, hey, this is important too. My parents, everybody, that's important. I need to be a part of that. But a lot of these media people don't see it that way. You're supposed to drop it, and here you come to me, and then you get upset with a driver who's just been in a race car for 4 hours and wrecks his car and tears it up, and then he gets out of the car.
And you want to stick a camera?
Oh, he's real, and he's pissed. I mean, what do you expect to get out of his mouth at that point in time?
A story.
Yeah.
That's just like with Chase Elliott in Phoenix.
That was beautiful.
I mean, he walked up and asked him. He goes, "I want to thank my crew and Hendricks and my sponsors." And he never said anything about Chastain at all, not a word. I was waiting for Chastain to do that last lap thing like he did in Martinsville. I'm like,
well, he said that he never wants to do it again. That the G-forces from it, that it hurt
his eyes, his vision, and everything.
Wait, he was about watching him on an interview. I guess it was during the race or sometime or after the race or whatever. He said that when he went in there and made that conscious decision that that's what I'm going to do, he said he hit that wall and kept going. He said, but halfway around that wall, it dawned on him, the opening, the crossover gate right there. And if I hit that wrong, he said I took my hands off the wheel and the car kept digging. I mean, that was pretty wild.
And I think like that, is what Kyle Larson was trying to get across. And so many people, well, you tried it. And it's exactly, he tried it. It didn't work.
Yeah.
And no one's taken away. Was it cool? Was it awesome? Absolutely. Hold on. But there is a danger level to it. And, there are some drivers that shouldn't be in that field, but they are.
Yep.
And they don't have the talent or the experience to pull that off, and they catch that opening just right, they're done.
What happened to Walter at Bristol?
Yep.
That opening when he hit that.
And Mike Harmon hit one. Mike Harmon hit it too.
Yep.
All right. Well, I appreciate Ricky being with us.
Ricky, Bobby.
Yeah, Ricky, Randy, Robbie, whatever your name is.
He'll answer to anything. Grand stock driver, preferably.
Yeah, now a new grand stock driver. But Randy, appreciate you being here with us.
I appreciate y'all having me.
And we'll have you back again real soon. We'll get you back. I love talking to him. I have a blast when he's in here and talk about old times and stuff. That's really cool. Huh?
I said I got a lot of old times. I'm an old man now. So
but anyway, that'll be next week. So far, next week, I know I've got one guest lined up, Wesley Outland, who came and did the Beluso race as one of the announcers down on pit road and everything. He and I were talking up here and everything. He's going to come on the show next week, and then in a couple of weeks I'm going to go on his show. So that'll be fun to
Maybe we
spend
can
some time.
rally together a Mayhem driver that hasn't been on the show yet.
Who?
I don't know. I'll find one. I got a few.
I've
of
been
them.
on the show, but I'm sure there's several out there that haven't been on the show. A lot of them I've asked, and they said, nah.
Have you had Aiden Millett on?
Yeah, we've had him on in the past, yeah. So,
I'm glad to see him win that championship.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now he's got a limited late model.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
He's
I
gonna
didn't know
go-
that.
He's gonna go to Legend Racing. And then they decided to buy a limited late model.
Okay. Wish somebody buy me one. Anyway,
Me too.
buy me one. Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to buy me one.
Maverick is too.
All right, well, that's our show for tonight. Please like and share our show. I want to thank Kevin Bellicourt, Shayne Laws, Steve Zacharias, Ricky, Randy, Robbie, Akers. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Our resident fill-in reporter, who looks like you're going to be here for a little while. So,
We got Batman.
and then Batman's flying around in here too.
You want to come say bye?
Bye.
All right, we'll see you next week.